The second GOP presidential debate is just days away. Republicans will take to the debate stage Wednesday night in California, but once again, former President Donald Trump will not be taking part. His former VP Mike Pence was critical of Trump this past week for skipping out on the debate. All this as the former president picks up an endorsement this week from an Indiana Senator Mike Braun endorsing former President Trump this past week. Of course, Braun running for governor next year. Recently on this program, he said he wasn't endorsing anyone, but if he did, it would be Donald Trump, and now he has. Let's talk about it now with our panel. With us here in studio today, we have former state party chairman for the Indiana Democrats, Robin Winston, along with 2016 vice chair for the Indiana Trump campaign, Tony Samuel, and two former state representatives with us today as well. Former Democratic Representative Terry Austin and former Republican Representative Mike Murphy. Great to have you all with us. Mike, I'll start with you. What do you make of Senator Braun's endorsement? Do you think we'll see most of the Republican candidates for governor endorse Donald Trump even amidst the legal troubles he's facing?
Well, I think the easy thing to do is to endorse Trump. He's going to win Indiana by probably 20 points or so. What I'm looking for is the courageous person who does not endorse Trump. That's probably who I'll end up voting for.
We'll see what happens there. Senator Braun and Senator Young now with very different views on Donald Trump's candidacy. Terry, should the former president be up there on the debate stage? He said he has a big lead. He doesn't think he needs to be up there. What do you make of that?
Well, debates like that are meant for your voters, and he believes he has a commanding lead. Evidently, he doesn't think he needs to answer the questions, so, you know, he's used it as a strategy before, and I think that's going to be his game plan.
We'll see if that's the game plan moving forward, or if he does end up on the debate stage down the road. Tony, meantime, we're headed for this potential government shutdown here next month. The former president this week saying there should be a shutdown in his view, but this whole situation also causing a lot of angst among Republicans. We heard earlier with that war of words between Victoria Spartz and Kevin McCarthy. How do Republicans bridge that gap, and can McCarthy survive all this in the end?
Well, that remains to be seen. He's faced this kind of thing before from that far-right conservative wing of the party, the Freedom Caucus, Matt Gaetz and others. You know, Victoria's comments are interesting. Maybe she does get in.
She's thinking about running again. I mean, at least tongue-in-cheek. We'll see.
Yeah, tongue-in-cheek, I think. But I'm sure a couple of others that have already put their names in the hat are a little anxious right now. But back to Speaker McCarthy, what really needs to happen, they need to come together somehow, because this will hurt them, I think, in the long run. The Democrats are better at messaging on this issue, and they will take it out on Republicans down the road.
Robin, what's your view on all this from across the aisle?
Well, you're exactly right, Tony. We will take it out on you if you do it. The bottom line is it affects Social Security, military payments, things for local government to deal with. It affects how our national parks are staffed, how government works. The same people that believe in smaller government are going to realize they'll have no government if they shut the government down.
Mike, your thoughts on how all this might play out in Congress?
Well, I think we have weak leadership in Kevin McCarthy. He's proven himself weak. I mean, anybody who is subservient to Matt Gaetz is like, how weak can you get, right?
But that wing of the party is also calling his leadership weak.
Yes, exactly. I think he's weak because he is subservient to them. So I think they'll get through this at some point. I hope the Republican caucus sees room to put a more pragmatic, stronger leader in, somebody who can get along with both sides, but it may not happen until January 2025.
We'll see how that plays out. Let's also talk here about the news involving Attorney General Todd Rokita this past week. We mentioned earlier the situation he now faces with these accusations from the state Supreme Court's Disciplinary Commission. Terry, you mentioned the AG last week and his ongoing feud with IU Health. What do you see the Disciplinary Commission doing here potentially? Could he face a suspension?
Oh, I think it's very likely that he could face a suspension. And I think the big question that needs to be answered, or at least asked and answered, is why are taxpayers paying for his defense when his law license is something that's held by him personally? He's hired a DC law firm, a K Street law firm, that he announced that his office will be submitting his response to the disciplinary inquiry. And to my knowledge, any other state official that's come under a personal disciplinary inquiry has had to pay their own legal bills. taxpayers should be livid over this.
Tony, you have a different view on this?
Yeah, I do. Remember, Dr. Caitlin Bernard was the one that first disclosed the 10-year-old rape victim that she had performed an abortion in the public at a political event, and then on MSNBC in an interview. Rokita has every reason to react to that. He is responsible to the public, and he was on an interview show as well. He didn't give details.
Neither
He just
of them
said that he
mentioned
was.
details
Yeah.
or this young girl's name, but they've both faced some sort of reprimand
but
for
I'm just
discussing
trying to make,
it. Yeah.
just wanted to make the point that it was her actions that led to this media whirlwind around this poor little girl. So it was a natural thing, I think, for him to have to react, being in his position as Attorney General. I don't think he did anything wrong, and I think that'll play out in the Supreme Court.
Robin, your view on that?
The bigger issue is there was a 10-year-old girl from Ohio who couldn't seek her own health care options and had to come here because she was raped. I mean, let's keep that in mind. I don't know what anybody on this panel would say if that happened to their grandchild or child. To me, I think that the doctor did the right thing. I think Todd politicized this, and he did like he always does. He overreached, and now the disciplinary commission is dealing with it. The question I would have, and I've called 2 or 3 lawyers who said it's a gray area, can you be Attorney General if your license is suspended?
Well,
I think we had,
and that happened just with our
Right.
previous Attorney
Yeah,
General, of
the
course.
last
Curtis
Republican
Hill's
Attorney General.
license suspended briefly during his term. Mike, your thoughts on this before we go?
It wouldn't surprise me at all if Todd Rokita were put in an adult timeout chair. I mean, it'd be the first time in his career where he's been held accountable. A rough week for former Congressman Steve Buyer, 2 years in a federal prison. When are we going to get back to pragmatic people with character in office? I don't know.
Okay, we've got to leave it there. We're going to have much more with our panel coming up later. But up next, we'll talk with the state senator who's making a new proposal on guns, which could allow, if it were to advance at the State House, cities to make some of their own laws on gun control. We'll hear from him and with the gun rights attorney who doesn't think the law has any chance of passing in the State House. That's next.